Since 2002, the Mythbusters have used science to separate fact from fiction. This year, however, that wild ride is coming to an end as Adam and Jamie hang up their lab coats and eccentric hats. But not before what's rumored to be the most spectacular final season in television history.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's get to work.
Okay, final season, here we come. Jamie, I think it's fair to say that you and I have a bit of experience in testing idiomatic phrases.
Sure.
We've made concrete airplanes. We've proven that it's best to go out with a bang. We've even slipped on banana peels in the name of science. But today, we are testing an idiomatic phrase we have not tested before, but is particularly apt.
Silence is golden.
No, but nice. All good things must come to an end. Because after 260 hours of television, after 14 years, this is the last season of Mythbusters.
So what do we got?
Well, this episode is going to be something we've never actually done before. We are going to be teasing some of the awesome stuff we shot this season, but we are also going to be peeling back the curtain and showing the audience exactly how we filmed this season. Mythbusters behind the scenes.
Sounds like we should start with something like a montage, perhaps?
Right you are. Cue the montage.
From a rocket-propelled first episode, Mythbusters became a television phenomenon.
This is gonna kill you.
With a patented combination of comedy,
Quack, damn you.
carnage,
Jamie wants big boom.
and clever science,
It's scientific!
the guys have brought memorable mayhem to the small screen for 14 years and change.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
But for their go big, then go home final season, Adam and Jamie are cranking things up to the max like never before. And in this episode, we're revealing some of their secrets.
Maybe you could give me a minute.
Normally, when we start a new season, we just pick up where we left off. We find the most popular myths from viral videos, movies, history books, whatever, and we just go for it.
But for this final season of Mythbusters, we wanted a series of episodes that resonated with us as Mythbusters, but also the scientists this show has turned us into. It's actively moving, look at that. And so to try and achieve all that, it began with what I can only describe as the mother of all brainstorms. Mythbusters' final season. We need 12 iconic episodes that represent the history of Mythbusters. I'm gonna throw out the first one, duct tape.
Explosions.
Explosions. Yes! The core brain trust of Mythbusters is Jamie, me, our showrunner Dan, our director Steve, and our 4 amazing producers. And the group of us sat down and came up with a list of episodes that we felt would properly send us off in style.
Rockets. Gotta do something on rockets.
Rockets, okay.
Now, it wasn't quite as efficient as that, partly because we wanted to get it right, but partly because it's barely controlled chaos around here for most of the time. And Adam's constant deliveries don't help.
Is this for me?
For Adam?
Fabulous. I'll be right back.
Adam must get 3 or 4 packages every single day, at least.
Oh, yeah! We gotta find a way to put this into the show.
Can we just get on with it? I have no idea what he does with all that stuff. All I know is that he leaves it sitting around and in the way.
Okay, where were we?
We were talking about the revisit special.
But back to the story. After 2 long days, we had finally come up with a list of episodes that we not only thought were really strong, but also really did speak deeply to the 14-year history of Mythbusters and resonated with us. And look at this, even Jamie's excited.
Yep, it's no spoiler that this season is pulling no punches. With episodes devoted to detonations.
Holy
Duct tape.
You made it into the loft.
Dramatic drops.
There it goes.
And away she goes.
And dastardly diets.
Made it through!
Not to mention an epic grand finale. The guys really have created a farewell season that's second to none.
3, 2, 1.
So after compiling that whole list, the next step for us was to figure out how to do that all safely. We have an excellent safety record over the history of Mythbusters.
Ow, ow, ow. Ow! Oh. Am I missing an eyebrow?
And we don't want to sully it now. We want to go out with a bang. We don't want to go out with a bang, if you know what I mean.
We're known for our explosions, and this season, it has a lot of them. We blew up mail trucks, a giant fruit smoothie, some landmines. The biggest explosion we've ever done. But my point is, you'd think that all these stories would be the most dangerous in our rundown, but the fact is, they're not.
Now, explosions are actually one of the safer things we do.
We've exposed the creamy center.
I mean, sure, if something goes wrong, it goes really, really wrong. But with all the fail-safes and the best practices involved, it's really unlikely to screw them up.
3, 2, 1, go!
No, from a safety standpoint, it is always the one that you think is going to be easy that is going to kick you in the butt. And this season, the classic example of that is drifting on dirt.
Yep, testing if drifting on dirt really is the fastest way to drive may sound simple.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, come on.
But in this final season, it was anything but.
I think the critical thing that we really need to watch out for here is dust. It's going to obscure visibility from Jamie and Adam when they're driving. In the event that anybody perceives any danger, to get on the radio and say abort.
This story turned into a butt kicker for safety because there was so much dust. We filmed this in the middle of a drought, and whenever we drove around a corner, a massive pile of dust got kicked up. We even tried wetting it with water, but in the summer sun and out there, it was kind of useless.
The big issue with the dust is that our course was a kind of a circuit. So you could make one turn kicking up a cloud of dust and then another turn where you drive back into that cloud where you're going at speed and you literally can't see a thing.
Yep, and with a cliff on one side and camera crew on the other, that was not a good combination.
Every time he takes off, it's like a film about the Dust Bowl.
In fact, there was literally danger at every turn.
I can't see anything. I can't see anything. Okay, abort.
So the guys opt to not only train like there's no tomorrow,
Wait for the power. Easy, easy, easy.
Oh, whoops. Sorry about that.
but they also film much of the story from the air, taking the camera team out of harm's way.
Yeah, so thanks to our safety protocol, we broke out our drone for some truly epic aerial shots. And obviously by the fact that I'm here, you know that I didn't die.
It's no giveaway to say that drifting does go to plan. But it's not the only time this season that Adam drives blind.
I can't see! I can't see!
As he puts his life on the line trying to sign off in style, something that we're not fully revealing yet.
So the trouble with trying to make the final season so ambitious is that when it comes to actually making the episodes, it's hard. I mean, we were opting for a go big or go home approach, and I think some of our producers may have actually preferred to just go home.
We had to find a Sikorsky helicopter in the middle of California fire season.
This is a great day for an experiment.
We had 3 days to source a 16-foot-long sword forge, an object that quite literally does not exist.
Man, I've never seen anything like that before.
But beyond all that, the biggest challenge for us this season was Tanker Crush. That was absolutely massive.
Tanker Crush is a final season spectacular about a train car which, thanks to a steam cleaning screw-up, gets catastrophically crushed.
Now, the story starts out just fine because we begin with some pretty tense small-scale tests. But we knew that at some point we had to go full scale with a 70-foot train tanker car. And well, that was one of the hardest gets we've ever had.
Okay, keep very quiet. We don't often show you this part of the show, but this is where the magic happens. This is our production office, and those are our producers that find the impossible to find stuff, like a 747 or RPGs. But right now, this might very well be Mission Implosion Impossible, but we'll give them a couple more days.
In actual fact, it was another 3 months before the guys hit pay dirt. But boy, did they come up trumps.
I mean, look at this. We've locked down 2.5 miles of train track, a mile of road. We've got about 35 guys and a dozen trucks to support the implosion of that giant 70-foot-long tanker car. This is gonna be cool.
Undoubtedly, Tanker Crush is one of the biggest experiments in Mythbusters history.
Man, that thing's so friggin' big.
And one of the highlights of the final season, where the stress and drama becomes almost unbearable.
Wow, man.
It's nerve-wracking.
It is, and I know that the moment I blink, it's gonna happen.
23.
Dang!
25 and a half.
Oh.
But the result will have to wait. After over 3,000 eclectic experiments,
It's a balloon made out of lead.
the Mythbusters are embarking on their final season.
Holy crap!
And in this special preview,
We're gonna find out just how MacGyver we are.
they're revealing not only what's in store, but also the secrets to their success.
It's totally fair to say that Mythbusters would not have survived these 14 years without our fans. In fact, at least 30% of our episodes come directly from fan submissions. Thanks for the car, Chris.
Yep, prior to the final season, more than 200 myths tested on the show had come directly from fans.
So for this final season, we wanted to pay homage to that incredible editorial contribution by devoting a whole episode to the fans being in charge, courtesy of our Reddit special.
What are you laughing at?
Just the front page of the internet.
At the Redditor's request, the guys try to punch through paper, throw Buster out of a helicopter, and set off the mother of all glitter bombs.
3, 2, 1. Now, those are great stories, but Reddit wouldn't be Reddit without a little bit of a subversive element going on, and so it was sort of inevitable that fans would suggest a story about farts. Specifically, can you see a fart on a thermal imaging camera? And this one started causing us difficulty right in the story planning process.
That's because with breaking wind for real proving impossible, the guys had to build a machine that could do it for them.
The machine presented a problem for us. It had to emit gas at the correct body temperature that we emit gas at, but it couldn't look too close to its physiological analog. Like I said, this is a family show.
I don't get it. I mean, an ass is an ass is an ass. We've all got one. What's wrong with building one? We built one for airline toilet seat suction, right?
Yep, who could forget Carrie's famous butt build? But hers never had to produce gas, an altogether less appealing process.
Looks great. It's a really, really nice set.
It really looks great. You like that?
I'm looking forward to spanking it.
If Jamie had his druthers, we would have just made a mold of his undercarriage and made that work. I am really glad we didn't do that.
Maybe like
Hang on.
right there.
So I've got to jump in here. You can't have that, Jamie, seriously. I mean, that is a dead set. You cannot put that on TV.
What if we had a dress around the whole thing? You know?
And then we can't see
Right, then yeah.
So you want to see the but you don't want to see the
I want you to design something that does the functions of without being on TV. So something like maybe a whoopee cushion or something like that. That might work. Okay, I'll leave you to it. Get into it.
Thanks. Once the director came up with the whoopee cushion idea, Jamie and I got pretty deep into the reeds with the design until we came back out with something that was effectively a whoopee cushion in a water bath that not only worked perfectly,
We're gonna try and do this all with a straight face.
it looked hilarious.
That thing looks like a big that's farted. Adam's machine was actually a pretty neat bit of engineering. It had the added bonus of not smelling. That's not to say that this season we haven't been grossed out with smells. 2 words, rocket special.
3, 2, 1!
Without doubt, rockets have helped put Mythbusters on the map. So for their farewell, the guys drive to the desert to test some final rocket fables. Can you really shoot for the moon with some far-out fuels?
Nice.
They start with gummy bears.
Launching in 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Oh, hey! Go! Oh. A duck.
Then they try an eclectic concoction of rock candy and carbon.
Launching in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's not very high.
Before long, Jamie decides what this story needs is a turn for the worse. So, back at the shop,
Mr. Hyneman,
Hello.
I need some poop.
How much?
50 pounds.
50 pounds. How fresh?
I don't care.
I love this little behind-the-scenes interaction. Jamie has just told our producer that he wants to build a rocket powered with poo, and the only question Eric has is, how much do you need? That, my friends, is a seasoned Mythbuster producer.
yep, and once the rocket fuel in waiting arrives on set,
Oh, man, that's nasty.
so begins one of the grossest experiments in Mythbusters history.
What the hell is that? It's already giving me nightmares.
Look, I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone ever want to make a rocket out of poo?
That's the way I like them.
But also think about the fact that it's just a waste product. No one's doing anything with it anyway. So for a long mission to Mars, if it can be turned into extra rocket fuel,
Oh, that's got to be nasty.
that's really smart. That's Jamie, as far as I'm concerned, thinking really nice and big outside the box.
So far, so good.
So there is method to his madness. And once back in the desert,
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
the guys carefully load Jamie's stink bomb onto the stand. But will it really change mankind for the better?
3, 2, 1!
Well, one story that just might involves landmines.
Oh, for years we've been wanting to do this story. It's so great. Can you traverse a minefield in a hovercraft? We never got around to doing it because we were never successfully able to find either mines or a minefield or a hovercraft.
Oh, yeah. Here it comes.
But this season, we finally got a chance to do it. Sure, when we filmed it, it was kind of a pain in the ass because I pretty much did all the work while Adam just messed around on the hovercraft. But anyway, thanks to me, we do have an actual experiment.
Yep, with a hovercraft finally located and some homemade landmines, the guys do put this long-awaited myth to the test. And while we're keeping the results under wraps, there's one thing we can reveal.
Yeah, landmines are awful. They're really awful, awful devices. So if you can find a way for innocent people not to get blown up by them, that'd be really good. Ah, you big baby.
In addition to making sure that the stories we chose this season are as epic as possible, it was also really important to us to make sure that the visuals were the best we've ever done, and I think it's mission accomplished. Really, I think the stuff that we've shot this season is as beautiful and as cinematic as anything that's on television right now. My DP is behind the camera right now giving me a kind of a, really? Look, and I'm totally serious. This is a beautifully filmed season.
Yep, this final season is a visual treat, not least thanks to the drones.
We have dabbled with drones and UAVs over the years, but this season, they were used in every single episode, not just for cool shots, but also as key elements of our storytelling process. Probably the best example of that is our duct tape special.
I'm ready. We knew we had to make a duct tape episode for this final season because making weird shit out of duct tape is kind of what we do.
That really is quite hairy.
But because it's the last season, we wanted something bigger than we'd ever done before, so obviously we made a duct tape trebuchet.
Trebuchets are not just large. They're long-range weapons that are part of a landscape, and we wanted to film them in a way that demonstrated that. Drones were perfect. Here you see the trebuchet getting built, rising up from a mishmash of duct tape and timber, eventually becoming a weapon of war. Here you see flaming fireballs whizzing by the camera. And that, by the way, is not a spoiler.
Adam's right. The duct tape trebuchet has a secret twist in the tail. But it wasn't all good news.
The drone cameras worked beautifully for the trebuchet shoot. Other cameras didn't fare so well. At one point, our trebuchet misfired and sprayed its fireball just like 50 feet in front of it, landing right in front of a pair of $3,000 cameras. Whoops.
Despite the duct tape snafu, the rest of the final season sees the camera team crank it up to the max and beyond. Plus, they also shot some comical show openers.
Yeah, for 10 years, every show started with the narrator guy saying, on this episode of Mythbusters, before the editors cut to basically a highlights package of the show. But for this season, we've been making special opening teases, which are slightly weird and slightly cryptic.
This season, there's Jamie as the mainframe.
What is error?
There's a zombie supermarket.
Lining up and everything.
That gives me an idea.
Adam is MacGyver.
Ah, you big baby.
A pastiche of Pulp Fiction.
We happy? Adam, we happy?
Yeah, we happy.
Some car destruction that goes terribly wrong. And the ultimate cooking chaos.
Eat shrimp, savage.
One of my favorite parts about the Cooking Chaos episode is Jamie and I had a genuine food fight. What you didn't see is that he got really upset leading up to the shoot about food getting all over his shop. So he made one of our producers, Jax, put on a hazmat suit, a face shield, and rubber gloves, and poor Jax is there trying to catch all the stuff we're throwing. Bolognese, spaghetti, custard pies, just to keep food off Jamie's floor. We were able to clean it.
That's perfect. We'll go with that. All right.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that she didn't do a good enough job because even now, I'm still finding bits of food where they shouldn't be.
How you like that?
Without doubt, the show openers set the scene. But to up the realism, the guys are also making this season personal.
There's another technology that we deeply embraced this season, and that's the world of virtual reality. Oh, wow.
Right. For every single episode, we filmed a VR experience that lets viewers see exactly what it's like to be on set with us. We've got our small-scale tanker experiment. We've got a zombie attack. We've even filmed something that showcases what it's like to be inside an explosion.
In a lot of ways, embracing VR demonstrates what this whole season is about for us. It's our final season. We could have made it more easy on ourselves, but we want to keep pushing. We want to keep getting something that we're proud of, and embracing VR is all about that, period. Dude, I know I was just there, but this is like I was just there.
Having fired over 500,000 bullets,
That was an adrenaline rush.
having destroyed over 280 cars, and having lost their dignity too many times to mention,
Is this as disturbing as I think it is?
the Mythbusters are shutting up shop. But not until they've had a spectacular final season.
was a good one.
We made sure that this season is jam-packed with a lot of fan favorites. There's a viral video that's already become a classic that more than 5,000 people suggested to us. Dude! There is more to duct tape than giant trebuchets.
Here we go! Awesome!
And then there's rockets of the airborne kind, but also of the sled kind.
But of course, we've also included plenty of explosions.
Whoa!
Blowing up.
Holy. Our best explosion this season, I'm gonna have to go with one that involved a famous fictional honorary Mythbuster, Angus MacGyver. Come on, there's no way we could finish Mythbusters without doing one more MacGyver myth.
I like this sled. Maybe I'm gonna try it out.
Indeed. And this one involves finding out if wet cement can really smother an explosion.
How you doing?
I love this story because it's like cement truck in reverse. How do you use cement to stop an explosion? That is some awesome meta symmetry going on right there.
And after one of the craziest controls in Mythbusters history, it's over to Jamie.
So then we set up for Blast 2, an identical van with an identical amount of dynamite, but this time we're filling the van with cement before setting off the blast.
Perfect, right there.
Only there's a problem.
Kill it.
The dynamite, which is meant to get smothered by the cement, floats up to the top.
So this is absolutely an impasse. We cannot continue. And then Jamie and I look at each other and think, what would MacGyver do? So we cut this hole just big enough for me to squeeze through. We laid down a board, and I shimmied down it using muscles I didn't even know I had.
Whew, all right, I'm in.
I can't even describe how hot it was in that van. And I'm wading with my pants rolled up to my knees in wet, funky concrete, moving live dynamite.
Yeah, you aren't going anywhere.
It was like perfect. MacGyver inside the MacGyver episode.
It is a classic moment of Mythbusters ingenuity. But was it worth it?
That totally went off, and all the dummies are standing.
So the second explosion happens, and we are astonished. I mean, we are high-fiving. It's exceeded all of our expectations. It is a totally surprising result. And then it turns out it's surprising because it's not a result. It's actually a total failure. It's a snafu, and we're gonna have to redo it. Look, I know I say that failure is always an option, but I gotta tell you, sometimes it's really tiring when it happens.
Failure is always an option became one of our major mottos over the last 14 years because, well, we do screw things up from time to time. This final season, we kind of had more screw-ups than ever, though.
Look, I don't know whether it's Murphy's Law or just the fact that for this final season, we pushed too far outside our comfort zone. But Jamie's right. There was a large number of big screw-ups on this season, not least of which, during the rocket episode, I tried to make a rocket using crushed up insects and pretty much failed spectacularly across the board. I was trying to make what is essentially a long tube of rocket fuel out of crushed up crickets, and everything I tried failed. I tried baking it, and that failed. I tried drying it out and then baking it. Fail, fail. Everything I tried, total disaster. That could have gone better. We ended up having to do something we've almost never done on this show, which is to end up cutting that whole sequence out of the episode. So as far as crickets and their viability as a rocket fuel, I'm sorry, NASA, I just don't have the answer. Failure is just another word for learning. And I'm really good at learning, if you know what I mean. I got shrimp up my nose. Ah!
Whoa! That hit a lot of things.
Go!
But the biggest failure of the season is from car lift. It's a myth that says you can supposedly lift a family car clean into the air using nothing but a humble vacuum cleaner.
This is a great example of a classic Mythbuster story that got Jamie and I super excited. We loved the build, we thought it was gonna work, and then very quickly, we ended up wishing that we had never seen this story.
Ah! Rats, rats, rats!
We try everything,
It's gonna work! It's gonna work!
but whatever we did, we couldn't get the car off the ground.
Yes! Ah! What?
That's a result. I mean, myth busted, right?
Well, we thought so, but the very next day we're rehearsing the blueprint wrap when our producer finds something that stops us completely in our tracks.
Look, we're running out of time, so it strikes me that we might have to bust this.
The math says it should work.
Yeah, I know. It's just this computer. That might
Guys,
actually...
before we call this, take a look at this.
What is it? This is a working vacuum car lift?
Yep.
No.
Someone better do it.
So our producer found this really obscure video from the 1960s of someone actually succeeding at this, which unfortunately for us means failure is not an option. We have to keep going.
Yep, it was suddenly action stations on Plan B, where the guys actually build something way more simple than Plan A.
Let's do this.
But we won't yet reveal if simple is effective.
Now, I realize there are a lot of people who like watching Mythbusters and shouting at the TV as Adam and I make mistakes.
Whoops.
And what can I say? Those people are going to be doing that in Car Lift and quite a few other episodes, too.
With so much failure, it's no surprise that at times this season,
You're boring the off me.
the tension has been telling.
Ow, it hurts. Okay, slow down a little bit on that. All right, don't be that. We love making this show, and when you love doing something, you want to do it really to the best of your ability, and that means that it's often quite difficult. So it shouldn't be any surprise that at times the stress level on our set is very high.
All we have to do is take off one of these and run it to our AC line.
You still have to run a separate line to each one of these 5 for the second leg.
All you have to do is unscrew one of these and then run AC into it.
I don't think you're right. The switch only activates one of 2 legs. I could be done with this in like 5 minutes.
And
All right, I'm gonna walk away for a while.
What's absolutely crucial to the relationship is that Jamie and I don't hold grudges. We always eventually make up. Although I will say, we should have set those timers up in my way.
Jamie?
What?
Sorry, I got pissy because it's like, I'm done with the other method and we're still farting around with this one.
Whether or not Adam and Jamie's timer issues get sorted is being kept under wraps.
It made it through!
But we can say that this season, failure's not always the option.
This season, we take on a story called What is Bomb-Proof? The myth is that if 2 identical explosions go off at exactly the same time and you're standing right in the middle between them, do you survive because the blast pressures cancel each other out?
Now, when we came to film this at Ione, the shoot was initially beset by a lot of gremlins, not least of which that Jamie and I got caught in a mini tornado.
It wasn't an ideal start, as a freak wind almost caused their experiment to sink without a trace.
Oh, for You all right?
Yeah.
But eventually, calm waters return, and the guys continue.
The key part of this experiment rested on the 2 explosions going off perfectly simultaneously.
Wow.
Not to the millisecond, but to the microsecond. But in this instance, and I don't know who or what was smiling down on us, but literally the first test we did, those 2 explosions went off perfectly at the same time. We even checked the high speed, and it was like 1 frame to the next, precisely.
It's kind of crazy. That was probably something like a 1 in a million shot, and we got it right on the very first go.
In this final season sneak peek, we've seen there'll be some incredible highs.
Yeah.
And some predictable lows. But for this season, it's also the case that the gloves are off.
This final season is about as diverse a season as we have ever made.
It's time for Zombie!
But for one episode this season, we decided to break the rules and cut loose a little bit. Groovy.
Yeah, after almost 1,000 myths, there's one episode in this rundown where the showrunner says, Jamie, you're always wanting to do stuff just because you find it interesting. Well, here's your chance.
No myths, no movie scenes, no urban legends, just Jamie getting the green light to tackle something he's interested in. And what he chooses to tackle is about 11 kinds of awesome.
Yep, cars, physics, and info. Jamie chooses to find out if you can ever flatten a car with a massive amount of explosive. And right from the get-go, he's already in his element.
Look at him. Sometimes I think that Jamie is the human equivalent of a hermit crab. Like a hermit crab can't survive outside its shell, but it doesn't make its shell. It has to go find it. I think in an alternate universe, if you gave Jamie the choice, he would choose the hard shell of a piece of earth-moving equipment to exist in 100% of the time.
Having primed the bomb range, Jamie does a series of small-scale tests, some of which work well.
Yeah.
And some of which go out of control.
Whoa. I don't think they've landed yet.
But eventually, he figures out a plan for full scale, and the guys head to their home away from home.
There's our setup.
It's perfect.
At NMT, the setup was really pretty elaborate, with I-beams and large sheets of steel.
You mean come up and over?
Not to mention a real hefty amount of explosives. All that stuff was great, but what's really meaningful to me about this kind of thing is that these experiments are adventures. You never know where they're gonna lead. Some people climb mountains, we blow it up. What are you gonna do?
It's interesting, but there's a lot of episodes we do that Jamie is just not that interested in. Star Wars, take it or leave it.
I really don't get why you're into these things.
Laws of attraction, just a little bit awkward.
Hello, angels.
Hi, Jamie.
But this time, we saw a side of Jamie we had never seen before. He was excited. He approached it with gusto. He tried multiple iterations, and he was even giggling between. This is what it turns out Jamie had always wanted, to just be free.
Oh.
Of course, we're not going to reveal the result of the car carnage now.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa! Oh, that's a piece of the frame. Wow, stuff is still falling.
But we will say that Jamie's not the only one who's got a favorite this season.
When all is said and done, my favorite myths often happen to be the ones in which we come to a conclusion that could actually positively affect somebody's life. From our back catalog, I love Underwater Car, where we show a technique with which people could actually save their lives.
I survived! The Mythbusters technique worked!
I also love plane boarding, where we came to a result that might actually positively impact the flying experience.
In an orderly fashion.
So for this final season, it was really important to me to find a story in that vein, and I found one that I got really excited about, and it has to do with how we line up to buy things at the store.
Most stores use the pick-a-lane lineup method. But apparently the snaking serpentine system is a way more efficient way to wait.
Unfortunately, when we came to start filming, we found that no store would actually let us use their premises. So we had to build our own, which was kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, cash registers. It's real.
Yes, what should have been a straightforward story soon becomes anything but, as it's all hands on deck to build their own
Mythbuster, where shopping is fully experimental.
Our other tagline was, we're making this up as we go along.
So we had our store complete with 5,000 products we had to price in the old-fashioned way. And then with something like 120 volunteer shoppers, we basically opened up and let them line up just like you do in a normal store.
I felt a little moment of pride that we just opened our first business and we've got all these customers. You know, over the years, we've gotten a lot of grief about our sample sizes. But for this myth, we got hundreds of bits of data, all of which were analyzed by some experts from UC Berkeley. So it's one of the most scientifically valid tests we've ever done.
It's definitely scientifically sound, but will it really arm the audience with important information?
Clean up on aisle 5.
Well, one myth that probably won't is the zombie revisit.
We've logged some pretty impressive numbers over the course of Mythbusters. We've used over 15 tons of explosives. Whoa! 83 miles of duct tape.
This is a long way down.
We've destroyed over 200 cars. But the figure that really blows my mind is that we have used over 3,500 volunteers. I had no idea the number was that high.
From every state in the U.S., volunteers have come from far and wide to help Mythbusters test all sorts of tall tales.
Give me a hooah!
But none are taller than the zombie apocalypse.
This season, we did a huge retest of gun versus axe because so many people said that we screwed it up. So we put out a request for volunteers asking them to show up at our location on a specific day already dressed as zombies.
Now, you'd think that because that's a bit of a hassle that we'd only get about 10 or 20 or something, but in actual fact, we got 200 Mythbusters fans in full-on zombie getup arrive. People are weird.
The effort that people went to was amazing. There was great zombie makeup, great zombie costumes, phenomenal performances. And we didn't even tell them that Jamie was going to be shooting them in the face. But they didn't seem to mind. Well, they're zombies.
But there's something bigger at play here. Something about the reach of Mythbusters, or maybe the reach of science. 200 people turn up for a full day in the middle of the week to be shot at in the face while wearing dress-up. While it's absurd, it's also kind of humbling, and it makes you realize how important this little science show of ours really is.
Across this final season, we'll be revealing Mythbusters by the numbers. Like 2002, the year the adventure began.
That was absolutely outrageous.
And 2016, when the journey ends.
I killed all the zombies!
This season, we're using 5 tons of explosive.
That was a bone rattler.
And we're destroying 178 props from the past.
Oh, yeah!
5 busters and 1 epic cement truck. Adam and Jamie are giving us an insight into their final season.
Here we go. Are you okay?
A season that's got spectacle, science,
Hello?
Oh, hey.
and seediness like never before.
Boobs.
But it's also got the emotion cranked up to the max.
It's gotta go!
So this is the last season of Mythbusters. It's real, and it's 14 years and it's over. Sorry.
Am I emotional about the end of the show? Well, yeah, I suppose I am a little bit. We've been doing it since 2002, and it has been more than just a job, to be sure. We've done some amazing things over all those years. We've made lead balloons fly, we've shown that elephants are afraid of mice, and we put square wheels on trucks, along with a whole bunch of other stuff.
But more than that, we seem to have played a real role in making science cool, and that was genuinely an accident.
That's crazy!
But I think it stems from the fact that no matter how ridiculous and ludicrous the opening question is, we will tackle it methodically with the scientific method, moving from experiment to experiment, genuinely building our knowledge. Nothing to me could be more awesome than that.
Yeah, I'm really happy that we may have had some small role in getting people interested in science, but not just interested in science, being physically active with science and trying things. That's a bit different. Now, I've always been really fond of building, and it's been a really key part of the show. So if we've encouraged somebody to form a question, a hypothesis about something, rig something up, build something or whatever to test it, then that's a job well done as far as I'm concerned.
14 years ago, the Mythbusters started a journey.
This is M5, my special effects shop.
A journey that, thanks to cool science and how-to builds,
Wow!
took them all the way to the top.
Welcome to the White House.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Everything they've learned along the way, they've thrown into this epic final season. Especially the grand finale.
We happy? Adam, we happy?
Yeah, we happy.
So we're getting to the point. It's time to start talking about the finale, our last episode ever. I'm good to continue.
We wanted to go out with a bang, but because we've set the bar so high, it's hard to work out what exactly to do. But after a lot of discussion, I think we finally got something that actually holds up pretty well.
I don't want to give too much away, but I think you'll be very satisfied. We give Buster the send-off he always deserved.
Buster, I'd like to say that it's been an honor and a pleasure working with you. I have gained much enjoyment and knowledge in our association, and I'm going to send you down with your favorite bottle of Mythbusters champagne. You ready, buddy? Here goes for old time's sake. That is so appropriate. Sorry, this one's real. Oh, man, that's it! Thank you, sir.
We do something to leave our high-speed legacy absolutely second to none. And we set off the biggest explosion in Mythbusters history. I mean, how could we not?
Inside this cement truck, 150-pound bags of info.
1 pound.
1 pound. 5,001 pounds. The largest explosion in Mythbusters history. 3, 2, 1!
And, well, we put our entire Mythbusters history on the line in one of our favorite locations ever to retackle one of our favorite stories ever and take it to the max.
Yeah, it's something else. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, the Mythbusters grand finale has to be seen to be believed. But there's more to this send-off than Adam and Jamie.
One more thing. We thought it was important to spend some time reminiscing about the history of Mythbusters, and we spend an entire episode this season doing exactly that. In fact, we reunite with the awesome talents of Carrie Byron, Trebuchet, and Grant Imahara to talk about these last 14 years and what they've meant to us, the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Seriously?
It says so right here in the script, like we always do.
Really know how to kill a moment.
Yep, that's written down too.
At any rate, the final season is awesome and it is epic, and we hope you have every bit of fun watching it as we did making it. I think it's time to cue the awesome montage. Are you ready?
Yes, let's get to it.
Okay, we're gonna count down. 3, 2, 1. We are getting into hovering position over the target. Fire! Warning, warning.
Yeah.